Hey gang, so last week we covered the idea of opening and closing the book with double staves, which really amounts to doing, I think it's like a pedal and a half of anti-spin followed immediately by a pedal of inspin, right? And we played around with it in all the forward timing and direction combinations. This week we're going to play around with it as though it is a polyrhythm hybrid. So for example, one of the things that I can do with this is rather than have it set up so that both of the staves go anti-spin and then both of the staves go inspin, I could have one of the staves start out inspin and one of the staves start out anti-spin. Like so. And the really interesting thing actually that playing around with these taught me is that, believe it or not, the amount of rotation that you have on the anti-spin side is exactly the same amount of rotation that you have on the inspin side. And we'll get to how that I found that out in just a second here. But once again, so let's start with hands in together same. Now, if this were poi, there would be two hybrids for each of these. And technically speaking, I think there are for double staves too, but here's where it gets slightly different with poi. With poi, or even with clubs, the way this would work is, you notice I have both of my thumb ends pointed down. I would have one going inspin and the other anti-spin, and now I wind up with right thumb out, left thumb in, and then switch it around so that I have both thumbs pointed inward, around so that right thumb is in, left thumb is out, and both thumbs are pointed down at this point, right? Now, I could also do this in such a way, and this is going to be very uncomfortable, where I start with my left pinky down, in which case, I wind up coming to a point where both of my my thumbs are out, and now I've mixed it up so that I've got one thumb up and one thumb down, and it'll be, hang on. Oh, this is really going to suck. Both thumbs in, and then, well, the long and the short of it is that if this were poi or clubs, those would be two completely different hybrids based upon this. But because we're dealing with staves that have two ends to them, they look pretty much the same. Like, I don't think the audience is going to be able to tell the difference between doing this and doing the other one, aside from the fact that I'm making myself incredibly uncomfortable with the second one. So I'm only going to deal with one of these for each timing and direction combination. So, here's the recipe for each. On together same, with both thumbs down, we wind up going to a place, hang on. We wind up going to a place where we've got right thumb out, left thumb in, both thumbs in. Hang on. There we go. Right thumb in, left thumb out, and then both pointed downward. Again, that's right thumb out, left thumb in, both inward, right thumb in, left thumb out, both downward, right? And really you could think of this as both away, right away, both away, or both inward rather, right away, or left away, excuse me, and both away, yeah? So if that wasn't confusing enough, let's try it in together opposite then too. In which case I'm going to have, once again, start with both of my thumbs down because it's going to be the easier reach and go like that. So now I have my left thumb in, my right thumb out, and then both of my thumbs in. And this is where it starts getting tricky because I've got to, you see that right there? That is the, left hand has to do inspin while the right hand is doing anti-spin. So we wind up arms crossed, left thumb in, or rather right thumb in, left thumb out. And now the challenge winds up being, how do you get back to this point right here? And really it's kind of a reach over where my, my left hand thumb is passing through my, my right armpits, so to speak. So again, with the left hand, you want to start with the pinky end on the inside, and the right hand, the pinky end is on the outside. And we go thumb to pinky, thumbs, thumb to pinky, both thumbs down, yeah? And you'll note once I get to the top, I'm still exploiting that kind of thing where essentially both of the staves are on the same side of my arms. They're both on the left side of my arms here, just because it makes it easier to get to the next spot. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah? And my personal favorite is split time opposite, because it winds up being this really, really kind of fascinating amalgamation of different elements. So this takes me a second to remember how it works. So it's going to be in, around, there we go. Yeah, okay, so this is why it's hard for me to remember. Because it doesn't start on the inside with the thumb down, it starts on the outside with the thumb down. So you have to make this already slightly uncomfortable reach even more uncomfortable. And reach it around, reach it around, reach it around, reach it around, yeah? So with left hand starting on top with the thumb end pointed straight down, and like as I'm doing this, essentially all of my fingers are pointed straight up, and the staff is just kind of resting in the little nook between my index finger and my thumb. It's going to rotate around like so to bring the pinky end in towards me, while my right hand staff rotates anti-spin to bring the pinky in towards me, right? So as you can see from that, if I were to put the two staves together, they're actually rotating the same amount. Which is really cool, because it means that this opening and closing the book trick actually means that the inspin and anti-spin parts are doing what's essentially the same operation but in different directions. And that's what makes that illusion of opening and closing the book work. So from here, where we last were, the right hand thumb is going to come around in, the left hand thumb is going to be pointed down, and then the right hand is going to do anti-spin, the left hand is going to do inspin around to get both thumbs in, and then both thumbs down, both thumbs out, both thumbs down, both thumbs in, both thumbs down, both thumbs out, both thumbs down. Or you could also think of it as both thumbs right, both thumbs down, both thumbs right, both thumbs down, both thumbs right, both thumbs down, both thumbs right, both thumbs down. Yeah? Finally, there is the split time same direction variation, which this one has been causing me all kinds of mad problems, and it requires the same kind of starting place that the split time opposite one did, where I don't have the less uncomfortable version of this grip where my thumb end is pointed down towards my body core, but on the outside of my arm like this, and from, no, actually I lied. It is in that orientation. My bad. So I'm going to switch from here to pinkies both point together, both thumbs point down. Both thumbs point in together, both thumbs down. Both pinkies point in together, both thumbs down. Both thumbs point in together, both thumbs down, yeah? So this winds up being like this, and it's structured very, very much like the split time same direction opening and closing the book, wherein you kind of have to use your best guess to find the placement of where the stab should stop and then stop them at that place. Because this time, unlike when we did it with them doing the same operation, we can't really watch them to see how much rotation they're both doing at the same time. We kind of have to say, okay, they're just going to arrive, boom, and we've got it. We're just going to say they're going to arrive, boom, and we got it. They're going to arrive, boom. They're going to arrive. They're going to arrive. They're going to arrive. They're going to arrive. Again, each and every one of these, they become easier once you get them in muscle memory, but they are a challenge when you're first starting off just going piece by piece. So I really recommend thinking about where the thumbs need to point at each step and working through it step by step until it starts to feel natural. Usually for these, it takes me 1 or 2 repetitions to remember how they work, and then it just flows through. So, yep, I'll be back with more stuff for you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a great day. Peace.